Good evening, everyone. It's Dr. Hudgens. I have finished grading your practicum logs as well as your reflective exercise number 3 and provided feedback in Blackboard. Please note that your grade for your practicum log is in Blackboard, but the actual detailed feedback is in Typhon. So if you want to see your points, you're going to be able to see that. Actually, you'll see that in both places, but to actually get the detailed feedback, you're going to look for that in Typhon. So you'll be able to have it right where you need it, so to make improvements for the next practicum log. In general, your work was really good. Your reflective exercises, I think, were very consistent. I'm always amazed at how an assignment that is designed to make things easier on you, like an outline format, I think students can be sort of fearful of veering off the course of a traditional paper. So some of you made it a little bit harder for yourself by either not following the outline format or by trying to blend a narrative in an outline format. Know that as you move through this course, and hopefully any other course, that if you're ever uncertain about a format change, do not hesitate to contact your faculty member and ask for clarification. So know that normally I try to tell you that there's a format change as I did with this assignment, but if you ever have questions, don't hesitate to holler out and ask your faculty. The area that I want to focus on this evening is related to your practicum logs. As I said in my feedback week from last week, to remind you that as you develop your practicum logs, the purpose of this log is to document how you've spent your time accomplishing your agreed upon goals and objectives. So as someone goes through all of your practicum logs, there should be a chronology of your evolution and accomplishment of your goals and objectives that you agreed on in 623. So if we were ever to audit your file and you were at the point of graduation, I should be able to go back through all 4 of your practicum courses and see how you started out with this is the plan in 623, and these are the things that you accomplished in that course. And then as you move through each of these courses, how you've continued to evolve and develop and accomplish your goals and objectives. Know that there may come a time when you need to make a modification to your goals and objectives. At that point, you need to contact your faculty member and let them know that you have a reason that you want to change your goals and objectives. They're going to ask you to revise them and submit another copy, and they'll be approved, and then you'll move forward. You may be really efficient or have a great precepting experience and accomplish most of your goals, and you find yourself in need of something else purposeful to do. What's important for you to know is that any time spent in the clinical setting needs to be focused on goals and objectives. You cannot go into a clinical environment with your practicum and wander around for 8 hours and then your log not reflect some ability to work toward accomplishing a goal and objective. So before you go in to each of your practicum settings, my encouragement for you is to have a plan. Talk with your preceptor about what you're going to focus on each day, and as you go through your day, document how you're accomplishing which goal and objective. Each time you turn in a log, you may only work on 2 or 3 goals and objectives, and that's okay. You have plenty of time to accomplish this. But when you work on them, you need to be strategic. So let's talk about your log. Make sure that you complete the header that includes the time that you're in the clinical setting, so that when I open up the log, in each log there's 8 individual pages. Each header should have the date that you were in that clinical setting and the hours you spent. If you look at your tool, each day that you're there, let's say you're there on a Monday, and you're there for 8 hours. The date of that day and 8 hours needs to be in the header, and everything you accomplished in that day needs to be in that first page of your log. So if you worked on 1 goal and objective or 4 goals and objectives, that's all accomplished in that first section of the log. If you have a second section, if you have a second day, you'll just move to the second log. Remember, each of the files hold 8 days or 8 logs. So you can put essentially 8 days in a single log. So avoid summarizing. If you've been in your clinical setting and you've been there for 3 days, you should have 3 different pages completed. So it's not based on which goal you're working on, but the day that you're there. I hope that helps provide some clarity. Your first box is the specific goals and objectives that you are working on. You don't have to accomplish them. You can just be working on them or making progress. Your second box is your supportive narrative. This is where you tell us, what did you do and what did you think about what you did? This is normally the section that has more content in it and is more reflective in nature. So this is where you're going to give the breakdown of how you spent your day. If you were in a clinical setting for 12 hours, it's probably inadequate to give a 4 or 5 sentence summary about 12 hours. You need to be pretty detailed, not overly detailed, not minute by minute, not hour by hour. But if you went to 4 or 5 meetings, you should talk about 4 or 5 meetings with a brief summary. In the supportive narrative section is where you're going to put the insights that you gained, the aha moments, the things that you were surprised by, the things that you feel like that you didn't plan for. And these, again, those are reflections. Your last section is your application section. 2 things go in your application section. First and foremost, how did the work you did during that day apply to the ANA scope and standards? You need to talk about the specific standard, and you need to cite the ANA scope and standards. The next thing that goes in there is anything you feel like is relevant in the application of your practice. If you went to a strategy meeting on increasing retention within your department, in the supportive narrative, you're going to talk about that meeting and talk about the aha moments. But in the next section, in your application section, you're going to talk about why retention is important in your hospital. Is there a problem? Is there an organizational strategy to decrease hiring? What's the thinking behind that meeting? The application section tends to be a little bit leaner, but more directed towards why is this relevant? This is the so what box. It's important that you practice this detail and be able to get these logs correct. So as you move into each course, you're going to have some consistency and you'll have a higher degree of success. I think that is, I was looking at my notes. I think those are the big ones. Folks, if you have questions as you go through the format, that's the feedback that's provided, and you're concerned about something, I don't want you to hesitate to contact me, send me an email, and we'll chat. The work for next week is a discussion board, so you should be able to take a nice deep breath. I will encourage you to be mindful of your time frame for your discussion board. Remember your Thursday, Sunday due dates. I would also encourage you, as you're giving your peer feedback, to challenge each other's thinking and question thinking. Try to stretch one another and offer different ways of seeing things. So something to think about. I hope you guys are having a great week. As you can tell, it's a little bit before 10 here, and my puppy has already gone to bed. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing. Know that I'm here. If you need anything, reach out and let me know. Y'all take care.